and we will record. Lovely. Okay, so let's start off in a seated position. And it is really important to say that if you find yourself uncomfortable at any point, do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable. So as a really basic example, if you are sitting like this, but your knees are up here, then you're not creating any space around your belly for you or for your baby or for your lungs. And so something as simple as taking the time to sit on a bolster or a cushion just means that you've got all this extra space and length through your torso. And that's really what you're looking for a more comfortable pregnancy. So as fidgety as it can seem to have to go and get something or pop something in, it can make a really big difference to how you feel and to how much more space you're creating. And it's all about creating space rather than creating ourselves little small hunched people. We're looking for that length up through the body. So if you don't have a bolster, a cushion, a rolled up blanket, a rolled up towel, anything like that is a really great thing to have. So let's just start off in a seated position. Lift the sternum up nice and tall. Let's just stretch the arms up so we stretch up and out of the side of the body. And if your shoulders have come up too, let the shoulders drop back down. And then just release the arms back down. Drop the chin into the chest. And then taking the head back to center. And closing your eyes. And let's just sit here for a few moments, just allowing you to arrive in the room, to let go of the little people bedtime routines, the pets, the work, the tea time, whatever's been happening. Just take a deep breath in and a long, slow breath back out through the mouth, just arriving in the room. Notice even as you're sitting where you're holding tension in the body. Let your sit bones relax. Let the buttocks relax. If the toes are curled, just soften, release through the toes. Releasing the shoulders, imagining them slipping down your back. And with your eyes closed, just imagining your eyes dropping deeper inside the head. And taking your gentle awareness to your breath. Just noticing the coolness of the air as you breathe in. And the warmth of the air as you breathe out. Just breathing in and out through the nose if that's comfortable. Begin to notice if there are thoughts in the mind, what those thoughts are doing, if they're moving quickly, if they're repetitive, if they're the same thoughts that you had earlier or the day before that, just noticing what they are. And then releasing, just imagining them blowing away into the breeze. You might like to take a deep breath in and blow out through the mouth, imagining those thoughts just disappearing. Let's do that together another twice, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And again. And beginning to notice the space between the thoughts. Noticing that space widening or deepening. And allow yourself to soften into that space. into that quietness, into that stillness. And trusting that that space is always there for you to come back to. The quietness always available underneath the noise, underneath the busyness, the rushing. Just settling with the breath, noticing the body as the abdomen rises and falls. And you might like to take one hand to your heart, your right hand to your heart, your left hand to your baby. Just gently resting your left hand on your bump. Just thinking about your baby for a moment, how excited you are to meet him or her, how much you would like for them to turn into the optimal birth position right now, if you're at that stage. And if you're much earlier on in your pregnancy, just beginning to think about the soundtrack that your baby has heard today. Whether you've been listening to music or you've been out walking in the woods, if they've been listening into your work calls, just imagining what kind of things your baby has heard today. And giving a little smile as you think of all the things that they have learned. And then for tonight's class, let's just create a gentle mantra, something for you to come back to anytime your mind wanders. And you can choose what the most suitable one is for you. It's just really setting an intention for the class, whether that's to connect really deeply with your breath and share that breath with your baby as you always are. Whether it's to bond more deeply with your baby, to ease out your spine if that's been uncomfortable, to help your baby to turn to the best position, just setting a gentle mantra in your mind. Making it positive and in the present tense. My baby and I are a team. My baby and I are connected. With my help, my baby moves into the best position for birth. Whatever you need the most, and it might just be my baby and I would like to unwind and chill out, and that's fine too, whatever feels good for you. And then with your lower hand, gently smoothing your belly. However you naturally stroke your belly, whether that's clockwise or anti, or up and down, just smoothing your belly. And then drop your chin down towards your chest. Beginning to open your eyes and just gaze down at your baby bump. You can give that bump a little wink. Let your little person know you're up here. We see you in there. And then let's release the hands down by your sides, keeping the chin down towards the chest, really allowing the back of the neck to lengthen. Inhaling to slowly lift the head back to the center. And again on your exhalation, lowering the chin back down. Let a gentle smile come onto your face. Inhaling back to the center. And again on your exhale, lowering the chin to the chest. Keeping the chin down, just move the head to look towards the right shoulder. Just as though you were drawing a smile onto your neck with your chin. Inhaling back to the center. Exhaling to move towards the left shoulder. Inhaling to the center. Exhaling to the right shoulder. Inhaling to the center. Exhaling once more to the left. And inhaling to the center. Take a deep breath out whenever you're ready. And inhaling to lift the head back up to center. On your next natural inhalation, remembering it might be faster or slower than mine, so find your own pace. Inhale to lift the arms out to the side, stretching all the way up. Really bringing the palms together, fingertips pointing to the ceiling, and breathe out, lowering the hands down the front of the body, pausing at the heart. So you're just collecting some of that love and then smoothing your hands over your baby bump, right over the insides of your thighs, back up the outsides, and inhaling up. Remembering that if you need to take an extra inhale or an exhale anywhere, please do. We don't hold our breath in prenatal, so just go with what feels good. And sneak in any extra breaths as you need to. It's all part of the practice. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Gentle pause at the heart. And smoothing over your bumps. Out the inside of the thighs, up the back. And again, inhaling up. This time, let's turn the palms up to face the ceiling. Nice big stretch up, so you're creating that space in the top half of the body. And let your sit bones drop down if they're lifting off the surface you're resting on, and relax through the shoulders. Just stretching up at the same time. And breathing in. And as you breathe out, just beginning to move in a gentle circle. Whichever way you've gone is perfect. We will go both ways. So don't worry about clockwise or anti-clockwise. We're just looking to lift out of the body, create some movement through the pelvis. Your circles might be tiny or they might be large. No judgment, just finding what's good for you, for your body, for your baby right now. And again, making this as dynamic or as relaxed as you would like to. Maybe your circles are bigger and a bit faster, or maybe they're really slow and gentle. This is all part of your training to be really good at listening to your own body, your own intuition, rather than somebody else telling you it needs to look like this and it must be like this. The only shoulds are listen to your body and what your body is telling you. And whichever direction you were going in, let's go in the opposite one. And come back to the center. Let's just release the hands down to the sides. Rotate gently through the shoulders. Nice opening across the chest. Gentle smile, relaxing the pelvis, letting the body know everything is okay. You can take the fingertips to the shoulders and come the opposite way, elbows coming together, stretching back. And down. Lovely. Leaving the left hand just resting in the lap or in front of your bump, wherever you've got the space. Let's inhale up with the right arm, really stretching the fingers up again so you can feel that lift and that spaciousness in the side body. And on your exhale, stretching across to the opposite side. Your lower hand can extend further to the opposite direction as well, or rest in your lap. Again, find what feels good to you. Continue to breathe in and out once you're here. And let's inhale up, exhaling down as the arms swap over, beginning to inhale up to the opposite side. And exhale across. Breathing in and out while you're here. Breathing in, beginning to lift back up. Breathing out as the left hand lowers. And breathing in as the right hand extends up. Big stretch up and exhaling to the opposite side. And doing your best while you're here to let your elbow be in line with your ear, so the arm is not forward and nor is it too far back. Just keeping it close to the side of the head. And let your sit bones stay down. If they're lifting, just come back a little bit so that you're still getting that stretch. Inhaling up, beginning to exhale. Inhaling up with the left arm. And exhaling across. And inhaling up. And exhaling with a big sigh. Just releasing everything back down. Again, drop the chin down to the chest, but this time also let the back push out behind you as if you are coming into a really rounded, slightly hunched shape. And then as we inhale, lifting up through the sternum, through the breastbone, lifting up out of the pelvis as we curl back out. Exhaling, rolling back down, letting the lower spine push back, head and neck drop down. And inhaling to lift up through the sternum, coming back up to center. Let's extend our legs out in front. And it's always good practice, even if you are just sitting on the floor, if you're playing with any of your other children or pets or just picking something up. If you've been sitting on your feet for a while, to really waken them up. Obviously, when you are heavily pregnant, your center of gravity changes a little bit and you're more likely to stumble or to bump into things. So when we can really begin to waken up the feet, make sure they've got a nice blood supply and they don't have pins and needles, you really support yourself. And then let's rotate the opposite way. Point away through the toes so you can feel a nice contraction in the tops of the thighs. And push through the heels. Feeling that stretch up the back of the calves and potentially up into your hamstrings. Pointing away with the toes. And away with the heels. Lovely. And then whatever surface you're resting on, just taking yourself down to all fours. You can move whatever you've been using as your surface to rest on out of the way so that you've got plenty of space. And again, letting each part of your yoga practice really remain part of your yoga practice. So there's no rush for you to jump from one thing into another so that you are at the same point as me. Just making sure that you've got the time that you need to move. So taking the knees a little bit wider than hip width apart, just drop down onto the forearms first of all. Let's rotate through the wrists. If you find that you are prone to puffy fingers, to slightly swollen hands or wrists, then simple movements like this can really help to get the lymph moving, help to reduce that inflammation. And go the opposite way. Lovely. And then just pop yourself back up onto the palms. So your knees stacked underneath your hips, your wrists, your elbows and your shoulders stacked together in one nice straight line. We're going to come into cat first of all. So with prenatal cat, we don't tend to hollow. So let me show you, we don't tend to do this one where you've got a dip here. What we do is come from a neutral position and then into the opposite, which is the stretch up through the spine. So let's all begin in your neutral position with an inhalation here. And on your exhalation, just tucking the tailbone under, rippling up through the spine, all the way up to the neck, and inviting the head and the neck just to drop down. Inhaling to send the tailbone away, coming back to your neutral start. On your exhale, tucking the tailbone, rippling up through the spine, head and neck drop down. Inhaling to return to your start position. And then continuing in this way. So each time that you are making the movement, you're looking for the movement to always start at the base of the spine, whether you are coming up or down. And the aim of this is to help encourage flexibility throughout the spine, to help reduce any of that stiffness, to help encourage a nice strong back. And we're also creating a lot of extra space for your baby right now. So your baby in its position in your womb means that while you are here in the kind of hammock shape that you're making for your baby, you're giving them lots of extra space away from your spine. And that can also give them more space to be able to turn, to be able to move. And sometimes just to get a heel or a fist out of an uncomfortable place if they're leaning into you too much. And again, allow your movement to match the whole of your breath. So we're not changing the breath to the movement, but we are adapting the movement to the breath. So my entire exhalation looks like this. And the whole of my inhalation takes me back to here. So just allowing yourself to continue, and if at any point this is uncomfortable on your wrists, you can drop back down onto your forearms, or you can just make gentle fists with the wrists and continue from there. Again, just calling to mind the fact that there's no point in benefiting one part of your body if you're hurting somewhere else. So really to start to see all of you as one unit. And we're looking to create maximum ease and support everywhere. We'll do 2 more rounds, so 2 more inhalations and exhalations. And down. From here, dropping your hands further forwards, stretching them away. And then lowering down, so you're coming into a lovely puppy pose. So your hips and your buttocks are still up, your thighs are still upright, although at a slight angle, and your arms outstretched in front of you. And your forehead can be resting down on the floor. If you were to look out to either side, you would just be looking out underneath your armpit. And whilst you're here, really allowing the back to soften, to relax, and notice where you're holding. If your fingers are tense, relax through the fingers. If the forearms or the upper arms are tense, just relax. If you can feel yourself holding through the spine, breathe into those areas and soften. Soften everything you can. And if any part of you is uncomfortable, just see how you can adjust. Maybe you take your elbows slightly closer back into you. Maybe you bend them slightly out to the sides, bringing the hands together, and see if you can just find a different version of that stretch that feels good for you. We're looking to create space, not to look picture perfect, but to create space and comfort in the body. Just allowing everything to soften, melting more deeply into the pose. And then whenever you're ready, just walk one arm closer in towards you and then the other so that you feel nice and secure before you start to lift your head back up. You can push down through the hands and take yourself back into that cat position. Let's take a deep breath in, and as you exhale once more, rounding up through the spine. Inhaling back to the beginning. And once more, winding up through the spine on the exhale. And back to the center. Let's extend the right foot back, toes down, pressing the heel away. And if you feel balanced and comfortable, stretch your left arm forwards. Your right leg is back, left arm forwards. Again, experiment. Does it suit you better to be palm down or palm out to the side? Just see what feels comfortable in your body. Where do you really need to stretch and tap into? Just breathing nice and steadily. Big stretch out through the heels. You hear lots of my toes squeaking on the wooden floor. And then gently relax that arm down, bringing the knee back into the ground. Just take a moment to notice if you can feel a difference between each side of the body. And then let's send the left foot back, pressing the heel away and sending the right arm out in front. And if this doesn't feel comfortable or you feel unstable, just work with the legs or the arms, see what feels better for you. Remembering to breathe. And inhaling, bringing the arm and the leg back in. Again, just lifting and replacing the hands down, giving them a gentle rotation if you need extra comfort. And we're simply going to lift the knees, so let's tuck the toes under. We're not coming into a full dog, we're just going to lift the knees up off the floor. So the toes are down, the knees are up, the hands are down. And just let your head and neck stay in line with your spine, by which I mean you're not looking up and you're not really pressed down. You're just nicely in alignment. And let's just hold here, remembering to breathe. If you start to shake or you feel uncomfortable, just release your knees back down to the ground slowly. And on your exhalation, returning the knees back down. Let's separate them out slightly wider. Let the tops of the feet rest down to the ground so the big toes can touch. And push the buttocks all the way back towards the heels, stretching your arms forwards. If your forehead can come down to the ground, resting the forehead down. And if that's not comfortable, making a pillow for your head with your hands. Extending the elbows out to the sides. And with that nice flat back, just breathing into that quiet space you've created for yourself. Again, lifting the head slowly, sending the arms back out in front and beginning to walk them closer in towards you. Dropping the chin down so that the head and the neck are the last things to come back up. Taking yourself back to upright. And sitting in whichever position is comfortable for you. So if you want to cross your legs, you can. If you want to just bring the knees slightly closer back in together, you can. Just making sure you've got plenty of space here for your bump and you feel nice and secure. I'm just going to turn back round so I'm facing you now. Again, if you are sitting like this, you might want to put a cushion between your heels and your buttocks, just if that gives you extra comfort. So let's bring the hands together in front. Take a deep breath in. And a long, slow breath out. Lovely breath in. And out. Now let's begin to open the arms out wide. And back to the center. So this can be our in-breath and our out-breath. Again, adjusting the speed to match your breath. Allowing your arms to flow in a way that's comfortable. You might want to have a really big stretch and squeeze between the shoulders. Or maybe that's too much for you tonight, in which case you're just opening and closing. And with this we can add in a mantra if you want to use one, which in your mind, just repeating as you open, I am open to give and receive love, and closing. I am open to give and receive love, and close. A gentle smile on your face. You're welcome to close your eyes and just enjoy the movement and the breath. And 2 more. And close. Taking the hands back in to rest in front of the chest. We'll come into the pigeon breath now. This is not one of the ones that you would tend to use during labour, but it is a really nice breath still to come to if ever you feel yourself feeling slightly panicky. It's an excellent way to increase space within your lungs. If you have asthma, it's a really good one to come to, not while you're having an asthma attack, but to help prevent one and to help keep you calm. So you're welcome just to watch, first of all, if you haven't done this one before, and then I will talk you through the movement at the same time. So a very simple breath with just 4 stages. So begin with our hands either interlaced, or if your fingers are puffy and that's not comfy, just rest one hand on top of the other. Chin very softly resting on the top of the hands. As we inhale, we lift out the arms to the side. We inhale through the nose. As we exhale through the mouth. This is the only time in this sequence you exhale through the mouth. And let your elbows drop closer together. Inhale without adjusting your position. And exhaling through the nose, back to the start. So we're inhaling through the nose, elbows open up. Exhaling through the mouth, head drops back slightly, elbows together. Inhaling through the nose without moving. And exhaling through the nose, back to the start. Again, matching your movement to your breath. So you're inhaling to open. Exhaling through the mouth, elbows draw together, head tilts back. Inhaling through the nose without changing position. And exhaling through the nose, back to the start. This is a lovely one to do before bed, just to really calm down the body, because there's movement with it at the same time. It can really help to integrate thoughts, feelings, the body itself. Inhaling to open, exhaling through the mouth. Head only tilting back slightly so it's not too much, elbows together. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through the nose, back to the start. Now you might also notice as we do this, so we inhale to open, there's always that gentle pause between the inhale and the exhale. So don't feel like you suddenly have to be darting from one to the other. And we'll do 2 more rounds, and if you get lost, don't worry, you're not doing any harm as long as you're still breathing in and out. So inhaling to open, exhaling through the mouth, head tilts back, elbows together. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose, back to the start. And last time, inhaling to open. Exhaling through the mouth, head tilts back, elbows together. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through the nose, back to the start position. Let's just lower your hands down to your baby bumps. Let your eyes close for a moment. Just tuning into the quietness that you've created within your body. The quietness you've created within your mind. And opening the eyes once more. And let's come to lie down on your right hand side for a few moments. Again, just really consciously taking the time. No need to rush, nowhere to be in a hurry. A good way, if you are on a yoga mat or a blanket or a rug, is to line your knees and your ankles up with the side of the mat. And you can have a pillow. I will grab one just for good practice so that you can also see exactly what to do with these bits and when. So it's nice to have a pillow for underneath your head. You can also have one for underneath your ankles. You don't really need it so much for this one, but if that's comfortable for you, more comfortable for you, then do have it. So knees and ankles lined up with the side. Make sure when you position yourself that your top half is not hunched into a quaver. So obviously you want space again through the torso. So create that space through the torso. You can have your bottom arm underneath the head or underneath the pillow, whatever's comfortable. And again, this top hand can either rest onto your hip or just touch it down to the floor. It's not going to be doing anything, this hand, it's just there for support. And then as we inhale, we're just going to lift the left knee up. You can either keep your ankle together or lift the ankle up as well. See what feels good to you. And we're going to hold the position for 10 seconds, but we're still breathing. And lower the leg back down. Again, on your inhalation, lifting up. Counting to 10. You can have your version of 10. You don't have to match my speed or my pace. And if you can feel your bottom leg tensing, just consciously relax it so that it isn't doing all of the work. I want the top leg to be doing the work. And releasing. And experiment with where is good for this hand. Might just be onto the hip. And lowering. We'll do 2 more. Inhaling up. And exhaling. Inhaling up. And exhaling. Just give that buttock a squeeze or a rub, whatever it needs. It's doing some nice deep work in there. And then stroke, if you can, from your knee up the outside of your thigh up to the buttocks. And release. Using your front hand, just gently push yourself back up. We're going to swap to lie on your left hand side, and then we will be coming into relaxation. So it's up to you if you want to spin right round so that you're still facing the screen, or if you want to have your back to me. Just find what feels comfortable for you, as long as you're now lying on your left hand side. And we do always come to final relaxation lying on the left hand side, because that is the safest position for your baby and for you. It can help you to not feel dizzy. Make sure that your baby gets a really good blood supply. So again, knees and ankles lined up with the side of your mat. Top hand either resting in front or onto the hips, whichever feels good. And then inhaling to lift the top leg. Holding for 10. And releasing. Inhaling, holding for 10. And releasing. Inhaling to lift. Noticing if there's anywhere in your body that you can release tension. Maybe your jaw has tightened as you're doing this, or your brow has furrowed. Just letting go of anything. Think of it as going around the house and turning off all the extra lights. Just think, where in my body might I have a light on right now that I don't need it? And switch it off. And 3 more. And releasing. Again, massaging into the top buttock. And although that's a relatively simple set of movements, you often find that you can really feel that in your buttocks the next day. And again, smoothing up the outside of the thigh up towards the buttock. And then coming into final relaxation. So if you are as comfortable as you can be, stay where you are. If you need to grab another cushion or a bolster or a blanket or put on any warm clothes, then do that. And again, remembering we don't ever want you to be just kind of holding out, waiting for something to finish. Make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can be so that you release tension from anywhere that you might be holding, and so that you can really benefit the most from each thing that we are doing. So once you're settled on whichever surface you're resting on, just become as comfortable as you can be. Really taking the time to release your body weight. Allow your eyes to softly focus on something a few inches in front of you. And just feel your eyelids becoming heavier as you begin to close your eyes. Gently blink and allow them to close whenever you're ready. Notice your breathing, the gentle rise and fall of your belly as you slowly breathe in and just as slowly breathe back out. You might like to rest a hand or both hands onto your bump and consciously connect with your son or daughter, beginning to get a sense of his or her energy, and allowing your hands to rest wherever they feel most at ease. Take your awareness back to your breathing. A slow inhalation and exhalation of your own natural rhythm. And this is the soothing rhythm that your baby is becoming more and more used to in each and every moment. He or she is feeling the rise and fall of your belly, the signs of your circulation pumping nutrients and oxygen all around the body, your heartbeat, the muffled sounds that enter your day, all of them creating the internal soundtrack to your baby. And as your pregnancy continues to progress, your baby is becoming more and more aware of his or her surroundings. And you are tuning into your baby, feeling the fluttery sensations when he or she is moving or squirming or gently kicking. All rehearsals for when your baby is ready to join you here. Your baby is in perfect tune with you, he or she knowing your routines, knowing when you are active and when you are resting, knowing when you are busy or relaxing. Your baby beginning to learn day and night from the level of activity in your body. Your womb like a sensory playground. Your baby resting, growing and living within you and with you. Safe and warm in natural darkness. Supported and suspended in the warmth of your amniotic fluid. A perfect home for your baby until they are ready to be born. And remember when you first noticed your baby's presence, perhaps in the first trimester or later. It doesn't really matter when you first notice those little sensations, or perhaps you're still waiting to experience that gentle flutter or a light bubbling, and that's fine too. As days turn into weeks, your baby continues to develop and grow. The sensations increasing, the gentle kicking or squirming, the stretching, perhaps even the hiccups. And if you are already noticing movement from your baby in your day-to-day life, begin to be curious about when it happens. Is it when you're talking as though your baby responds to the sound of your voice, or to the sound of somebody else's voice, the sounds within your home? And whenever you are busy and moving around, you can sense that you're also rocking your baby into quiet time, instinctively knowing how to soothe and comfort, that mothering that comes so naturally to you. Your voice, the vibration of your tones, vibrating through your womb, a soothing hum, an internal lullaby that comforts and offers love and security to your baby. You feel your baby as he or she floats and turns and twists and maybe even performs somersaults or cartwheels. Your baby exploring their own limbs, the outlines of their body, and gently pushing against the walls of your womb. That's their way of saying hello. And whenever you practice your breathing techniques, breathing slowly in and out, as your abdomen expands and releases, your muscles gently and lovingly squeeze your baby when your tummy moves towards your back, as if you are already giving him or her a hug. And whenever you are in the bath, the warmth of the water, the trickling sounds as you rest deeply, you may notice flutters of appreciation as your relaxing body creates more softness and more space for your baby. And you're always reassured that your baby is present and well. Sometimes there will be quiet time and more active times as you feel your baby push up against the walls of your womb as they strengthen and develop. And all of these images start to make you smile, creating a softness in your eyes. And whenever you're ready, perhaps not now, but in a few moments, you can allow these images of your baby to begin to fade, knowing that you can always tune into his or her energy whenever it's safe and you can make time to do so. As you start to become more aware of your surroundings, more than just the sound of my voice, perhaps also the sound of your breathing, of any other sounds within your home, of your pets or your family, a distant TV or radio. Beginning to notice the surface upon which you're resting, the warmth, the coziness of the cushions or your blanket, the sensations of the ground beneath you and the temperature of the room. And whenever you're ready, you can begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, any part of your body that wants to move. You can rub your hands together to generate some warmth. And place your warm palms over your closed eyes, just allowing that warmth and comfort to soak into your closed eyes. Lovely long breath out. And smoothing your forehead. Allowing yourself to stay wherever you are for as long as feels comfortable. I'm sending you lots and lots of love to you and your tiny treasures, or not so tiny. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Allow yourself to rest and enjoy. And I'll see you all in the group later tomorrow and ongoing. Lots of love. Bye bye for now.